As a CEO of a massive public company, a concern of many people is that AI is going to be taking everyone's jobs. Do you notice this to be somewhat the case? Like if you don't replace some labor with AI, you're just going to lose out to competitors. And do you think that that's a valid fear? Or how do you, as someone with many employees, see AI competing with the labor force? How do you see that relationship?
Jobs certainly will change over time. Some things that you can now do entirely with AI should be done entirely with AI. I think we have to shift as a society and not artificially protect those jobs, but work on making sure the people that are on that path are able to pivot and do something that is more valuable to society. In the same way that you wouldn't protect lamplighters, right? And it was funny. It's very romantic in a way. People used to come with those torches and light all the lamps. I think I was in London last Thanksgiving, and they have one part of the city where they're still like protecting the lamplighters. I do think humans will still be at the center of things, and there will be lots of opportunities for human ingenuity, at least for the foreseeable future. I think the jobs will change, and nobody can think about, you've heard this term, the singularity, right? The singularity, Ray Kurzweil, intelligence explosion. I think it's inherent in singularities that they're hard to think about, but I think we have a pretty good clarity over what the next 2 to 3 years at least is going to look like, probably 5 to 10. I think we're still far away from, humanoid robots coming into our houses and, burping our children or putting them to sleep. So, yeah, I think humans are going to be calling the shots for a while, which means that there will be new and more interesting human jobs. And in the same way that those of us that were early adopters of smartphone technology in the 2000s, or early adopters of the internet, or early adopters of like spreadsheets in the 80s, if you were an accountant, for instance, you have a huge advantage. And what I've been telling folks here is at some point, it's going to go from being an advantage, which I think we're in now. If you really use these AI tools, you're at an advantage to everyone else. And at some point, probably rather quickly, I mean, we probably don't have 5 years. I'd say we have 2 or 3, to a point where if you're not AI native and if you're not conversant in these tools, you'll be at a disadvantage relative to anyone else. So I don't think people should worry about AI taking their jobs. I think people should worry about someone that's AI conversant, being more valuable than them in the market. And you should prepare yourself for that scenario.
How should someone prepare themselves for that? Like, what should they learn, or what do you recommend people do?
I mean, think about it like a child, right? I think like you look at children using computers in the 80s and 90s, and they would just like play with them, right? They'd like play with it. It takes time. It takes interest. I think the problem with that a lot of adults have in the workforce are they're very busy. They have existing tasks, and sometimes when you get those tasks done, you're just tired and you don't really have time. And we have other things going on. We have families, but at the end of the day, it just takes dedicated time to play with these new technologies. And if you can integrate that play with your work, if you can actually like figure out how to use it while you're working. I'm a huge proponent of integrating work and play in your personal life. And I think having them be separate worlds is not a long-term sustainable strategy. But yeah, you just have to like play with it and tinker. I think that's the best way.
Do you ever feel misunderstood by the public, just being who you are and running the company that you do?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through the GameStop stuff, so definitely used to it.
But how tired are you of talking about it? It's okay. You can be honest.
Yeah.
It's just such a complicated thing. Yeah. So sometimes I just don't know what aspect of it to discuss. But
that's the thing is when all of that went down,
Yeah.
I remember Graham and I were talking, and he was making videos on it, covering it.
yes.
And
I defended Rob. Yeah.
and Graham,
You did,
he,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
came to me and he was like, do I defend them? Like how?
Yeah,
What kind of a position do I take on this? Because unfortunately, the way that YouTube works, the way that if you're making videos to appeal to the masses, you need to have a villain, especially when people are hurting.
Totally.
And so you can either choose that route, the politically expedient route of making a villain, getting everyone to love that, or you could choose sometimes the hard truth, which is the more nuanced approach of like, hey, these things aren't as cut and dry as you guys may think them to be.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what sucked back then because I remembered, I think we had a call and you had done a few podcasts at the time.
Yeah.
And everybody hated those
they hated
podcasts
them.
because you're like, oh, you're just a paid shill for Robinhood, even though you were never paying anybody. It was just,
No.
I'm happy to go on and talk about it if you want to hear me out. And I'm
Right.
sure even this, some people will think, oh, they must have been paid or something. No, it's just like, this is an honor to be here. We've been trying to do this for years. Like,
Oh,
we're just
thank you for
excited
saying
about
that.
it genuinely. But I remember at that time, and it's still to this day, if you go and defend Robinhood over GameStop, you're just shit on. And if you go and say, oh, Robinhood disabled the buy button because they're in bed with Citadel and all this, everyone's like, oh, yeah, thank you. That's
Thank you for
awesome.
standing up for the little man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, if you say, oh, that's bullshit, or that's just a conspiracy theory, or that's totally wrong, then they're like, oh, of course he would say that. What, you
Yeah.
think he's gonna admit to colluding with Citadel on a podcast?
Now, really quick, every business is asking themselves the same question. How do we make AI work for us? The possibilities are limitless, but guessing is too risky, and sitting on the sidelines is not an option because one thing is certain. If you're not doing it, your competitors are already making their move.
And that's where our sponsor NetSuite by Oracle comes in. It's the #1 AI cloud ERP, trusted by over 43,000 businesses to manage everything from financials and inventory to commerce, HR, and CRM, all in one unified system.
When all of your data is in one place, your AI becomes a lot smarter. It doesn't just guess. It knows. NetSuite intelligently automates routine tasks, delivers real-time insights, and helps you make fast, confident decisions that actually help drive growth.
And it's not just an add-on, it's AI that's literally built right into the system that runs your business, helping you cut costs, improve accuracy, and stay ahead of the competition.
Whether your company is making millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite gives you visibility and control to keep moving forward. Honestly, if I were building a business of this size, NetSuite's the only company that I have 100% confidence in.
So if your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, get our completely free business guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/clips.
Again, the guide is free for you at netsuite.com/clips, netsuite.com/clips with the link down below in the description.